Today we're taking a look at Nikon's first step into the mirrorless market, their top-of-the-line Z7. Does it surpass the unquestionably great D850, or does it disappoint? Stick around and find out. Nikon were arguably late to the mirrorless market party, nearly 5 years after Sony, for example. But given the market trends and the uptick in the popularity of the Sony's A7 series, they have now launched two new models in their new lineup, the Z series, Z6 and Z7. On review, as said before, is the Z7, so the higher megapixel variant that is more focused towards photography, while the Z6 is touted as a videographer's dream. Going through the spec sheet, the Z7 features a newly developed Z mount with 36x24mm 47 megapixel sensor with 493 face detection autofocus points on the sensor, with a 9 fps maximum with mechanical shutter and 5 with an electronic front curtain. It supports taking photos in RAW files in steps from 12-bit compressed to 14-bit uncompressed. The video is also not too shabby, with UHD resolution at a maximum of 30 frames per second at a bitrate of 144 megabytes, as well as supporting 1080p at 120 fps and uncompressed 10-bit 422 over HDMI, which is said to be upgraded in the following months with an uncompressed RAW output over HDMI. It also supports the standard wireless connectivity via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi that enables remote control from the SnapBridge app on iOS and Android. Well, it's an impressive spec sheet that quite closely matches the D850, but in a smaller and sleeker body. The body feels great in our hands, the ergonomics are on point, the doors, ports and buttons are all gasketed, so if you shoot in difficult terrain, the Nikon Z7 will be quite up to par. All the buttons we need are on the right place, they have great tactile feedback and have always performed admirably with no issues whatsoever. A personal preference would have been to move the jog dial a bit lower so that it would be easier to reach, but that's just me coming from a different system. A thing we can't look past is the Z mount itself. It is by far the largest in diameter at 56mm. And with its shortest flange distance on the market, it will support every single lens on the market, no questions asked. Of course with an adapter, which at the time of making this video there are few of, but that will surely change in the following months and years. Anyways, while this is an opportunity for greater cross-market appeal, it is also a limit, as the Z-mount lenses won't be able to be used on any other camera on the market. And that is one of the main gripes I have with the camera, the lens selection. I know that developing a new mount and the whole system behind that is a difficult and time-intensive process. Having only a small number of lenses available on launch and none of them high-end, as the Z7's price tag would logically match with. So a 50 1.4 or 1.2, a 70 200 2.8 and something of the like. They are coming, but I think them not being ready on launch is a mistake, especially given they don't hold the largest of market shares. These problems are somewhat alleviated by the FTZ adapter that has full compatibility, so AFC, tracking and whatnot, the upcoming phase detect autofocus with the existing FX lenses from Nikon and also from Sigma's art series. So there's a good selection there, but for people looking to switch systems completely, it's a difficult ask. From the front to the bottom side of the camera, the battery life is great. In my testing it did over 1200 shots per battery life, or a few good hours of video, so a single day event, let's say a conference, can be reasonably covered with 2 batteries. On to a more controversial topic and the reason why professional users will not switch to the Z7 in my opinion: the lack of second card slot. While Nikon did decide for the newer QXD card slot, which is incredibly fast and much more rugged and reliable when compared to an SD card, there is only one slot, so if the card gets corrupted, you don't have a backup, and for events where there is no such option as a reshoot, well, that is a problem. The LCD and the EVF on the other hand are great. I would have liked to see them include the fully rotatable screen, but I understand that some concessions had to be made, and it being only horizontally tiltable is quite enough in my book. As when looking through the 3.8 million dot OLED EVF with an 80% magnification and 100% coverage, you don't even want to look at the LCD screen on it, because the EVF is as good as they come. The pixels are invisible and the dynamic range of the panel is excellent. This really is the closest thing to an optical viewfinder I have seen to date. Onto the actual experience of shooting with the Z7, I was pleasantly surprised by the ergonomics as said before and with the handling of the entire camera. Also, I liked the autofocus, which is often a point of contention with first generation mirrorless cameras. And as widely reported, it is perfectly reasonable. The single shot focus is very fast, accurate and doesn't hunt at all, except for situations when there's really not enough light to even see naturally, much less shoot efficiently. The video autofocus on the other hand isn't anything to write home about. The eye detection autofocus is coming, but given that I have not tested the device with it, I was left to my own devices, and the continuous autofocus, while usable for shooting non-moving or slowly moving subjects, isn't really acceptable due to lots of hunting when shooting dynamic targets. And it is safe to say that I was pleasantly surprised with the results of photos taken with the Z7, especially given that they were taken on medium range glass. But for all intents and purposes, this is a D850. It has all the characteristics of latest gen sensors, a good dynamic range with some color shift in the shadows when underexposing. The noise is very well controlled, and I never hesitated to use 1280 ISO. All in all, Nikon Z7 is a great first step into the mirrorless market for Nikon. It sets good groundwork with a great new mount that is, albeit not really supported, but with good potential for the future, and some quirks that they are set to be improving in the following months and years. It has to be said that Nikon is a worthy contender due to it not having a separate cinema division, so they don't have to cannibalize video features such as Canon or Sony, and are therefore coming out with raw HDMI output, and that I believe will be the game changer that puts Nikon's mirrorless series on the map. Thanks for watching this review on Discharge Networks. Don't forget to comment and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future.